China and the Philippines are in a major face-off. China's Coast Guard is getting aggressive, using water cannons to block Filipino boats from disputed waters. It's a tense conflict that's heating up fast. But here's the big question. Could this lead to an Asian NATO? Imagine powerful Asian countries teaming up like NATO in Europe. It's a game changer. This could reshape global politics in a big way. The conflict between China and the Philippines over Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea remains a pressing issue, despite a 2016 ruling by an arbitration tribunal rejecting China's historical claims over most of the South China Sea. China continues to assert its control. Scarborough Shoal has become a hotspot, escalating tensions between the two nations. A significant incident involved China placing a barrier, blocking Philippine fishing boats from entering the shoal's lagoon. Despite China's claim that the barrier was removed voluntarily, the Philippines raised concerns. China's use of lasers and dangerous encounters at sea further heightened tensions. Beyond the Philippines, China has clashed with other South China Sea claimants. Instances include a Chinese Coast Guard firing water cannons at a Vietnamese fishing boat and a Chinese Navy ship trailing a Philippine Navy vessel near Thitu Island, raising concerns about maritime safety. These disputes have sparked discussions about forming an Asian version of NATO due to global concerns. The United States has reaffirmed its commitment to defend the Philippines. Analysts highlight the potential escalation, risking involvement from major powers like the United States, leading to a broader conflict. Joint military exercises by Japan and the United States in the South China Sea demonstrate increased cooperation. Establishing an Asian NATO involves forming a formal military alliance, similar to NATO in Europe. It requires collaboration among Asian countries against common security threats like maritime terrorism, developing a shared defense strategy, and intelligence sharing. Balancing economic relations with China and safeguarding security interests is crucial. Creating an Asian version of NATO is challenging because Asian countries have unique security concerns and histories. Unlike the original NATO focused on Europe, Asian nations face diverse challenges. China, seen as a potential threat, doesn't use direct military force. Instead, it exerts influence through economic investments, diplomacy, and military partnerships. China's investments in European infrastructure and technology raise concerns about NATO's ability to respond effectively in crises. Additionally, China's military activities near Europe and its cooperation with Russia have global implications, potentially threatening NATO's satellite infrastructure. China's assertive foreign policy includes disinformation and economic pressure on NATO countries. Several Asian countries face domestic obstacles to joining such an alliance. Japan, due to its pacifist constitution and limits on military exports, faces hurdles despite its security ties with the US. India's non-aligned stance and border issues with China make participation challenging. ASEAN countries have differing views on the US and China, making consensus with the alliance hard to achieve. These complexities illustrate the significant challenges in establishing an Asian NATO. The formation of an Asian NATO is gaining momentum due to rising security challenges posed by China in the Indo-Pacific. Leaders from Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, known as the Asia-Pacific 4 or AP4, participating in a NATO summit signals a shift in focus towards the Indo-Pacific. NATO acknowledges the challenges from China, given its military buildup, aggressive regional policies, and partnership with Moscow. Joint military exercises between China and Russia complicate NATO's defense planning, especially in the Euro-Atlantic area. China's military advancements and aggressive behavior have led the US to view China as a significant factor in its defense planning. Potential confrontations in the Indo-Pacific pose risks to global trade routes, affecting European interactions with Asia. European allies need to prepare for potential security gaps if US forces can't reinforce them against simultaneous Russian challenges. NATO's collaboration with Indo-Pacific partners, especially AP4 nations, highlights the region's importance. Dialogue and cooperation with Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand are vital parts of NATO's evolving strategy. These trends showcase NATO's adaptation to the changing geopolitical landscape. indicating a comprehensive response to challenges from the Indo-Pacific, particularly China. So, what are the scenarios that could potentially occur? If Asian NATO forms, it could lead to a United States-China war, Cold War, and proxy war. The idea of an Asian NATO involving countries like Australia, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand, known as the Indo-Pacific Four or IP4, joining the alliance has gained momentum. Increased dialogue and collaboration were evident at the 2022 Madrid summit, hinting at growing alignment and strategic cooperation. However, this prospect raises concerns about escalating tensions in a world teetering on the edge of a new Cold War, potentially leading to proxy battles between the United States and China. The danger doesn't just stem from adding Asian nations to NATO, but from the intricate web of military alliances and increasing closeness among nations. Recent events in Ukraine underscore how perceived alignment with NATO can heighten tensions, prompting rash decisions and paving the way for devastating conflicts. The concept of an Asian NATO, although controversial, has gained traction since the 1990s, causing alarm in nations like China, North Korea, and Russia. The fear of military encirclement has driven these countries to bolster their own military and political ties, escalating regional anxieties. A crucial aspect often overlooked is strategic empathy, understanding how one's actions might be perceived by others. The United States, historically involved in foreign military interventions, raises concerns among nations wary of being pulled into conflicts driven by alliances. A Cold War between the US and China, whether direct or through proxies, carry grave consequences. Economically, it could disrupt global trade and cooperation. Militarily, it would result in catastrophic losses on both sides, with long-term repercussions potentially outweighing any short-term gains. China strongly opposes NATO's expanding presence in the Asia-Pacific, viewing it as a threat. The alliance's focus on China's ambitions intensifies this concern, seen in their strategic concept. China perceives this as a challenge to its rights, prompting warnings of a firm response. The current global landscape is marked by intense US-China competition. While economic interdependence exists, strategic competition is inevitable. The US aims for peaceful coexistence, but adopts strategies like Containment Plus, restricting exports to curb China's military advancements, inadvertently impacting its economy. China's concerns about NATO's expansion are valid, considering historical context. The fear of encirclement and disruption of strategic interests fuels China's strong opposition, increasing the risk of a proxy war in the region. Asian powers versus China, NATO joins the war. China's assertive actions in Asia have alarmed neighboring nations, leading to the potential formation of a united front of Asian powers against China. China's aggressive zero-COVID strategies have isolated it globally, affecting its economy and influence. Territorial disputes in the South China Sea with countries like Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam have escalated tensions. China's land reclamation and militarization efforts have strained relations, prompting collaborative maritime security efforts among Asian powers like Japan and Southeast Asian nations. The involvement of NATO in Asia adds complexity. With the US surpassing China in economic capability, the power balance shifted. The potential alliance between NATO and Asian powers presents a united front against China's expansionism, pressuring China to reassess its strategies. However, China's nations might hesitate due to existing regional relationships and economic dependencies. Building alliances with both the US and China simultaneously raises concerns within ASEAN, disrupting consensus building. Economic ties with China, a major trading partner for countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia, complicate the process further. The US tries to create that many alliances that result in weak alliances. The United States finds itself in a complex dance of international relations, juggling numerous alliances and global challenges. The repercussions of strained alliances ripple across the geopolitical landscape, potentially reshaping it profoundly. Historically, U.S. alliances have faced internal challenges, often due to allies hesitating to contribute adequately to collective security efforts. This ongoing debate weakens alliances, especially amidst changes like Brexit and rising tensions in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. At the same time, the United States deals with resource depletion, stretched thin from managing conflicts in Ukraine, Africa, and the Middle East, and facing potential future concerns like Taiwan. This strain impacts both military and economic resources, leading to mounting debts and deficits. This situation significantly influences U.S. dynamics with China. While the U.S. strives to maintain strength, China remains confident in its economic system and global approach. Mutual distrust further complicates matters, making finding common ground challenging. China, with its expanding military and economic power, closely watches the U.S.'s actions. Alliances formed in the Indo-Pacific, such as AUKUS, designed to enhance deterrence and defense capabilities, face strong opposition from China. The formation of this pact contributes to heightened geopolitical tensions in the Indo-Pacific, reflecting the complexities of regional power dynamics. The shadow of potential threats looms large. While these alliances aim to strengthen global security, a pressing question arises: are they becoming fragile, potentially weakening U.S. capabilities? A delicate balancing act is crucial to prevent vulnerabilities and unexpected consequences that could upset the global power balance. The U.S.'s pursuit of these diverse alliances mirrors a tightrope walk, aiming for global security and stability. Strategic decision-making and prudent resource management hold the key to navigating this intricate tapestry of alliances and preserving the U.S.'s strength in the face of China's ascent. The journey towards an Asian NATO is fraught with challenges. Regional differences, domestic politics, and historical animosities threaten to divide rather than unite. And as the shadows of China's military expansion loom larger by the day, the world watches with bated breath. In the face of these mounting tensions, we are left to ponder the words of Winston Churchill, who once said, "The era of procrastination, of half measures, of soothing and baffling expedients, of delays, is coming to its close. In its place, we are entering a period of consequences."